Cowboys and the Broncos yesterday. By the way, we mentioned how awful the uniforms were in our first game. Shefty, how about these old school Broncos?
Hey, this organization should go back to them full time.
And awesome. Candidly, if they're going to run the ball like this, they can wear whatever they want. There's no defense at all. R.J. Harvey, a 40-yard touchdown run. Broncos up 7-3 early, and then it's Bo Nix. Alex, how about this throw?
I mean, this is just presence. He was feeling it yesterday, especially pushing the ball downfield like this.
Broncos up 27-10 late in the half. Dak Prescott, Rex, the Denver defense was all over him.
Oh, absolutely. And right here, this is a terrible pass here by Dak. He's got to score every time he gets it. He's got to feel that way.
So now we go to the third quarter at 27-10. Cowboys with a fourth down. They're going for it. We didn't see enough, I think, of George Pickens yesterday.
Yeah, he had 7 catches, as did CeeDee Lamb. But listen, this was your best matchup on the field, and I thought they should have gone to it more often, especially Patrick Surtain out late.
Cowboys fighting back. Javonte Williams, anytime touchdown hits for me.
Way to go, Greeny.
Brian Schottenheimer loves it.
He's on a roll.
Cowboys down 27-17. Then they punt on a 4th and 5, which a lot of people didn't like. And then Troy Franklin, Rex, can you be more open than this?
Are they playing with 11? I think they got 10 out there, man. I tell you what, this Gum State defense strikes again.
Yeah, Jerry's going to hear him in a minute say it's not just one player they need. Maybe they didn't have enough players on the field. The Cowboys are fun to watch offensively. Their defense is atrocious. Yesterday was their 4th game allowing 30 points and 400 yards this season. Last year they only had 3 such games, despite ranking 28th in total defense. After the game, Jerry Jones said this about how the Cowboys can get better on D.
A loss is discouraging, but as far as my temperament, if I saw a proposition for us to help this team, no matter what this score was today, then I would look at it on the merits of helping this team. So I'd have to answer your question, no, today would not affect a decision on trading for a player. We one player away on defense. I think we're not. I think we're more than that away, but what we're closer to than it looks in my mind is executing better on defense.
Executing better on defense.
I'm all for the execution of that defense. And I got to tell you something.
Yeah.
Like, this is, it's got to be difficult for an offense coordinator.
Tell me why.
Going against this outstanding defense. Because you got to decide, are you going to run it? Or are you going to pass it? And that, to me,
tough decision.
Very tough. Very tough. I mean, I'm surprised they don't get a lot of delay of game penalties, to be honest with you.
They're that bad. I mean, right?
They're absolutely atrocious.
Rooting for them is excruciating. I mean, it's excruciating to watch them and just watch their defense be as incredibly bad as it was.
They're on pace, or they've given up 250 points so far this season, midway through the season.
Right.
Anytime the defense has performed like this in the past, they've been below 500, and they haven't made the playoffs. And this is the problem. There are weeks where the Cowboys look so strong offensively, and they come out defensively and give up plays like this repeatedly. And you can't be a certifiable, viable playoff contender if you're playing defense like this on a regular basis.
Listen, Greeny, you and I get to work with Rex, on Sundays as well. We know his feelings about this Dallas defense. This defense might even be worse than Rex feels about them. To put this in perspective, to say it was uncompetitive would be an understatement. There's nobody in these frames on these routes. Like, again, running at 10 yards a carry. J.K. Dobbins, 180 yards rushing. We showed the toss crack. I don't think they're touching R.J. Harvey on these plays. And by the way, they just didn't do it once. It was like, hey, we're going to line up in the same formation and do it again and again and again. And I can't tell you how many 3rd and longs looked like such easy conversions. It didn't make sense. And again, to your point, Rex, Shoddy, he's got to flip it. He's got to become Dan Campbell. And he's got to try and score a touchdown on every single drive. The offense is the strength of this team, and you need to have your foot on the gas. And again, these late punts in that game made no sense to me.
True.
You knew your defense.
It wouldn't have made any difference. I agree with you. They weren't going to get a stop at any point they needed to anyway. But yes, that was a questionable decision that he makes, and then the Broncos go down and put it out of reach. In fact, D. Wood, when I asked you this morning, well, how about Denver? You were making the point, against that, you can't even say their offensive woes are cured after they look pretty bad against the Jets and 3 terrible quarters against the Giants, because the Cowboy defense is just that bad.
Yeah, they're that bad. And I think that's really the biggest question coming out of the game is okay, is Bo Nix, is this the real Bo Nix or not? Because the Dallas defense can give you a mirage out there of sorts.
Yes.
But listen, the way Bo Nix played, this was the best Bo Nix has played all season long.
Mm-hmm.
This running game really came to life. And I will say this, even when you play against a bad defense, sometimes it can jumpstart you. And so we're going to see with the combination of how they play offensively and how great their defense is. Boy, now we're going to have an interesting discussion in the AFC West with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, they're going to be 8-2. Just if you look at the Broncos, they have a bye in here, and they have 2 very winnable games. Very good chance they'll be 8-2 when they play Kansas City on November 16th.
No doubt, and I totally agree with you, Greeny. Obviously, going against that Dallas defense, was it a great sign for Denver offense? We don't know. I will say this: we know the Dallas Cowboys offense is elite.
Oh yes.
This was the best defensive performance we've seen. I mean, Denver shut them down yesterday. Obviously, Dak with the 2 picks really limited him and got after him. So, I mean, you got to be encouraged.
We'll have a lot more on them.
Happened on the offensive side of the football, specifically in the passing game. We'll talk more about the rushing attack later in the show. But Dak Prescott held to one of his worst stat lines of the year, and it's the first time in 5 weeks that he's had a game where he had 1 an interception, and 2 less than 3 touchdown passes. You've heard that stat thrown around a little bit throughout. But Isaiah, when you looked at what Dak did today, what was the microcosm of what went wrong on the Dallas side?
Well, first of all, they didn't have a running game. We talked about in the pregame show how important a running game is to Dak Prescott's success. They were ineffective with that today consistently. Also is the pressure. You see it right there, Nick Bonito and the rest of the crew up front. Those guys caused a lot of havoc. They won the line of scrimmage. They kicked the offensive line of Dallas's butt, and because of that, Dak had no time. And when you couple that with the fact that their DBs are good, that's a recipe for disaster for Dallas.
Yeah, without a doubt. And that's why a great pass rush is always the best friend of a guy in the secondary. Because even when you have 2 dynamic receivers on the outside, like a George Pickens, like a CeeDee Lamb, when you got that pass rush that's able to harass a quarterback down in and down out, it makes it extremely hard for them to find those dynamic players on the outside. And it makes it so much easier for a corner or a safety to just sit on routes and say, hey, man, your quarterback doesn't have the time back there for these routes to develop, these big game-breaking routes to develop. So you sit back there, you wait your time, and eventually the quarterback's going to throw you one. That's why, the defenses I played a part of that were great always had that ferocious pass rush out there. They were able to harass the quarterback, and I'm sitting back there like, yeah, I'll take these when they come my way.
I was going to ask you, I feel like you would probably know it off the top of your head. What was your best year overall in the NFL?
Oh, without a doubt, 2017 in Jacksonville. You had Calais Campbell. I mean, you had Yannick Ngakoue, guys that can just get after the quarterback.
What was the nickname of that defense?
Oh, it was the Jackson 5.
It was Jackson 5?
Well, the secondary with the Jackson 5.
Okay, I always thought of that as Saxonville.
It was Saxon. They had their thing in the front 7. We had our thing in the back. We were the Jackson 5. That was Saxonville up top. But overall, I mean, it was a great defense. It made my life a heck of a lot easier.
Now, today for Dak specifically, they were going up against the number 1 pass rush. You knew that was the case. Without the play-action game and without any threat of a rushing attack, how did you feel like the offensive line upheld in front of him, Nate? Because there were times where there was a lot of pressure up front, and it wasn't necessarily on Dak or the scheme. It was just mano-a-mano against those guys.
Just a C plus at best. What you saw there was not – they only got 2 sacks, but what you saw was harassment. All you want to do when you're Denver is knock a guy off his spot, because now your DBs are good enough to either intercept or knock the ball out. They just kept Dak moving around, kept him off his spot, couldn't find a rhythm with the 2 great receivers that he had.
Yeah, and a lot of times you're going to face defenses, at least in this day and age of the NFL, that aren't going to be able to man up on those guys outside. George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, Isaiah, this was a team that had the talent to man up on them outside.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, their 2 cornerbacks are absolutely amazing. Patrick Surtain didn't even play half the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, their corners are amazing, but that, like to Barry's point, that front 7, man, if you can get to the quarterback, it's hard. It is very difficult. There's only so much time. You have CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, and yeah, you hear all the hoorah about them, and it's due, right? It's due to them. But if you only have 2 seconds to get the ball off, 2.5 seconds to get the ball off, that's not enough time to run a route versus a press coverage. It's just not. You can't create the separation, especially when they're forcing Dak to get off his mark. Now he has to throw inaccurately, and now if you're throwing inaccurately, then the ball's not where it needs to be. And now I'm asking my receivers to make Houdini catches versus sticky coverage.
And remember, their linebackers and DBs had perfect communication all day, no matter what, how many times we motion, how many times we move guys, they stayed intact. That is key. Communication was key.
Yeah, great point all the way around. It was not.
Congratulate this ownership group. They've really come in here over these last 3 years, and they've really turned this thing around. Their entire enthusiasm of the fans, the team, and that was formidable for us out there tonight. They beat us physically. Their lines beat us, but their overall team, they did it with a young quarterback. My hat's off to them. Great win for them. We all know that we think a lot of Sean Payton. It was a big win for them. We had high hopes because we thought we could come in here and have a big win for us. That didn't happen. They had everything to do with it. We got to get better.
Jerry, the inconsistency with this team winning one week, losing the other has been pretty staggering. How do you evaluate your team right now, 8 games in?
Well, I am not happy at all with winning 3 ball games at all. And that starts really for what our goals are. Can we play better? Of course we can play better. But we knew coming in here, their fronts, both their defense and offensive front, was going to be a challenge for us. And we needed to offensively be able to play against a real big-time defense, and they played well, their defense. So I'm more impressed with how they handled us, our offense, because it was up front that made a lot of difference there. Secondly, I thought that we could stop them better defensively. We all saw the same thing out there. We've got a lot of work to do.
Your defense showed some strides against the Commanders here. Your defense played better against the Commanders. Did that make it even tougher to watch, the fact that they couldn't play well at all today?
Well, at this juncture, you would look at it from the standpoint of how do we go forward and how do we play better. And again, I've said all along, you've got to, out there, you've got to step up and against the running game. I think we had 10 or 11 plays at almost the half or halfway through the second quarter, over 10 yards or more in the play. And we've got to come up and do a better job of run stopping. We knew that if we didn't do that on that front, that it was going to be a long day for us, and that's what it was.
A lot of penalties hurt you, Jerry.
Jerry Jones following the 44-24 loss to the Denver Broncos, and you could hear some of the frustration there at the beginning. Did a good job of kind of evening out the emotions there, but what he said was true. They were out physical, they were outplayed, and they were out-talented on the field today. Penalties played a factor, execution played a factor, and talent. All 3 things meshed together for what was one of the more lopsided losses that the Cowboys have suffered this year. Isaiah, your thoughts as you hear what Jerry had to say.
Yeah, I heard 2 things. I heard that we all saw the same thing out there, and we have a long way to go. Mm-hmm. That was statement number 1 that really stuck out for me, which means that you're looking at it. We just played a playoff caliber team. We're not that. That's what I took away from that statement. The next statement I heard was that at this junction of the season, we need to be better than where we are, which indicates to me that changes are coming.
And, hopefully some of those changes are getting some of those guys that have been injured throughout the season back into the lineup. We talked about it earlier. When your talent isn't, up to par with the team you're going against, you have to do all the basic things and you have to do all the small things right. And that means you can't have pre-snap penalties. You can't have guys missing tackles. And you most for sure cannot have lapses in the secondary when you talk about, mental errors and those type of mistakes. If your leverage is on the outside, you got to stay on the outside. I mean, there was just too many things. If you got contained, you got to stay outside and contain the rush. I mean, there's just too many things that are self-inflicting for this team right now to go out there and get W's against I won't want to say more powerful, but a more talented team out there. You can't make the basic mistakes out there and think you're going to go out there and win the ball game.
Barry, something that I saw in the game today on film that I just can't understand as an offensive player. Run fits. Like, can you, I don't want to make an excuse for it, but can you explain why that might be a problem for some of the defenders because it's obvious that guys are covering up the same lane and not covering up every running game.
When it comes down to the running game defensively, everybody has a gap. You all understand. Everybody has an A, B, C gap when it comes to running fits. You got to have that mentality to go in there and say, you know, I'm going to put my head in there and I'm going to go ahead and make this tackle. You can't depend on other guys to go out there and do your job for you. And I'm talking to the secondary in this regard. All right. There was too many times we saw that the Denver Broncos were forcing the corners for the Dallas Cowboys to tackle out there. And there was too many times where we saw guys saying, well, you know what, I'm going to let that defensive tackle make the play. I'm going to let that linebacker go out there and make the play. Instead of going in there and sticking your head in there and making a play yourself. We saw it too many times. Guys just sticking on blocks. Oh, somebody else will make the play. You got to be a part of this defense. It's a unit together, man, to go in there and make this play. It's all about mentality when you're talking about the run game. And right now, that secondary, they don't have it. They don't have that mentality to go in there and get their head and get physical. And that's what you need with an Eberflus defense. The film doesn't lie. You're going to see it out there plainly when they get back here and they watch the tape. You're going to see it plainly. And you'll see those cornerbacks, I don't want to say ducking, but they weren't trying to go in there and face the fire when you talk about hitting the run game.
That's real stuff when you're watching this game, and that's the type of stuff that they're going to have to fix in the film room as well and on the practice field starting this week and a longer week going into the Monday Night Football.
Welcome back to Cowboys Nation Report, where we speak the truth about America's team, win, lose, or tie. And right now, Cowboys Nation, that 40-40 tie against the Broncos felt more like a gut punch than a draw. Let's call it what it was. Another defensive disaster. Dak Prescott gave everything he had, fought, threw under pressure, made plays. But when your offense drops 40 points and still can't win, the problem is clear. The defense was nowhere to be found. ESPN called it atrocious and excruciating to watch. One analyst even said, "Are they playing with 10 guys out there?" That's how bad it looked. Denver's running backs gashed us. Receivers were wide open. Tackles were missed, coverages blown, and no pressure at all. Through 4 games, this Cowboys defense has now given up over 30 points and 400 yards in 4 straight outings. That's not Cowboys football, that's chaos. And then came Jerry Jones. After the game, Jerry faced the media and said something every fan needed to hear. Quote, "This loss is discouraging, but if I saw a way to help this team, I'd look at it. Are we 1 player away on defense? No, we're more than that away, but we're closer than it looks. We just have to execute better." That's vintage Jerry. No panic, no surrender, but no sugarcoating either. He knows this team has talent. He knows it's not about replacing everyone, it's about fixing what's broken. Tackling, effort, pride. The reality is simple. If this defense doesn't wake up, Dallas will waste another great season from Dak in this offense. But if Brian Schottenheimer and Matt Eberflus can tighten him up, even just make it respectable, this team still has a shot. The NFC East is wide open. There's time to turn this around, but only if the defense starts playing like they mean it. Cowboys Nation, this isn't the time to fold. This is the time to fight. The star still stands for something: grit, pride, and resilience. So yeah, we're hurting, but we're not done, not by a long shot. Now it's your turn. Do you think Jerry should make a trade, or is he right that this defense just needs to execute? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe to Cowboys Nation Report, because this story isn't over. The Dallas Cowboys are still standing. 1 star, 1 dream, 1 fight. Cowboys forever.